Absolute bedlam. Absolute bedlam. Absolute bedlam. Talking about topics and stuff. Absolute bedlam. Absolute bedlam. Absolute Bedlam podcast. Who? What? Where? Why?
Dorset, England's gateway to the sea. Legends tell of how travellers and wayfarers would navigate vast oceans to meet the natural beauty of the Jurassic coastline. As the centuries have passed, only their song remains. Absolute Bedlam are proud to be sponsored by Shanty Spirit, the taste of the Jurassic Coast.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Tyler with the band No Consent, and you're watching Absolute Bedlam Podcast.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Absolute Bedlam Podcast. If you're from America, then it's good afternoon. We've got Tyler from No Consent on the podcast. And how's it going, Tyler? You well?
Yeah, life's good. Can't complain too much.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Have you been on podcasts previously?
Yeah, I've done a few.
Yeah. Any you want to give a shout out to whilst we're here?
We've done man, he's changed his name a few times. I think it's Story of Your Life or Music. I can't remember what the new one is, but when we did it, I think it was just called I don't even remember what it's called then. But Jeff Rathstone, I know his name, Jeff. He's a homie.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us on yours. We've done Punk Rock Family TV. We've done a bunch. So anyone that puts their time or effort into what we do, fuck yeah, thank you.
Yeah. All good. Nice one. So on that note, we've got the first two questions that we ask. So how did you find high school? And can you remember something that you or a friend did at high school that was very, very naughty and got you into trouble?
I remember high school fondly. I had good time in high school mostly. I was kind of like one of those kids that everyone liked me, but I didn't really hang out with everyone. So I'd have people be like, "Oh, Tyler, you're popular," and I was like, "I'm well liked because I'm not an asshole." You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that I'm popular. People still are like, "Look at that." Back then, I had long hair and stuff like that. I was into metal and, still figuring out my life. I had loved punk, loved metal. I was still figuring out who I was, and people would be like, "Oh, look at that long-haired kid," But I had people call me gay because I had long hair. Because I listened to certain bands and stuff like that, and I think nowadays it's funny because all those bands are coming back. People are into bands that we liked and got made fun of for. So it's kind of funny to me. I was not a good kid in school. I was always getting into trouble or doing something, and I actually got expelled from school twice because I'm from a small town. So when they expel you from school, you usually can't go back to it. But I did a program called Alternative to Expulsion, which is like mini jail for school, and so then I got expelled again a second time too, which was stupid. But both of them were for smoking weed. We'd go and during lunch we'd go smoke weed in the dugout or something like that, or some of our buddies would go smoke cigarettes and stuff like that, and we just thought we were cool kids, I guess, and could get away with it, and we were pretty stupid. One time I got expelled from actually summer school. So it wasn't because I was held back. It was because you could do summer school, so you didn't have to do PE or physical education. So I took summer school to try to skip that. Well, one of my buddies thought it was a good idea to bring water bottles filled with vodka, and I wasn't going to say no. So we drank a bunch of vodka, but one of the kids got super drunk, and that's how we got caught.
Yeah.
I was a stupid kid, for sure.
Sounds busy, man.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
sounds like you always had something going on, even if you weren't at school. Yeah.
yeah. We were
Bloody
we
hell.
were dumb and
Yeah.
young, but
Yeah. Love that. Awesome. So, jumping ahead a bit, when you're playing a gig, because I could see that you guys have a bit of a work ethic. I think you played a gig yesterday, is that right? Or a couple of days back?
yeah, it was a couple of days ago. It's Saturday.
Like to play
But
live.
yeah, I think this is like our only weekend off, and then we play pretty much every other
Jesus.
weekend, if not every weekend. And
Yeah,
then even some of the dates are going to be like Tuesdays, and we're always trying to play, man. This is our passion. It's what we live
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
It's either
Awesome.
for me, it's pretty much music full time. For our guitarist and our drummer, it's like skateboarding and music. That's it. And then our bassist, he's full on music too. It's like it's what we live for.
Yeah. So off the back of that, when you play live, when you record, all that stuff, we'll get on to recording in a bit. But what does no consent stand for if people that are listening to this haven't heard of you before and they want to check you out? What would you say brings you all together? What's the glue that holds the band?
Right. Well, we've had it's few people, and I understand. I'm not discrediting them. It depends on how people, I guess, come at it. Some people have been like, "Your name's No Consent. You're a rape band," and it's like that's not what we stand for at all. If you took a second and talked to us, or even look at our shit, you would know. Like when we made the name No Consent, we didn't even think about any of that. And then when it got brought up to it, it was like, "Oh shit," you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we came up with the idea of
Too far
no
gone now. Yeah.
yeah, it's like, well,
Yeah.
we're committed to it, so at least we have a
Absolutely.
reason to stand behind it, and it's not like, oh shit, our band name is Rape. You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
If we like purposely pick something like that, yeah, we'd look pretty stupid.
Yeah.
But the whole point of it was no consent to police search and seizure, no consent to injustice. It was supposed to be the word no consent was supposed to open a question: is to what's wrong in this world? Do we consent to that? What's fucked up in this world? Do we consent to that? Like so on and so forth. And the politicians are fucking us. Everyone gets fucked. You know what I mean? As long as the guy at the top is fed, fuck
Yeah.
you. Who cares if you make anything?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this band stands for. Is pretty much is all the injustice in the world, all the shit that's fucked up. Is someone needs to take a stance and say it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So off the back of that, has there been a time in the band's life where a promoter has tried to, like you say, fuck you, or like because you're so on the nose with your message, does that deter people from trying it on with you guys? Do you know what I mean? Is that the
No,
best
I get
defense?
because we're so
Yeah.
like fuck you about it.
Yeah.
No, I don't think any promoters have been like honestly scared to book us. The only time we had really an issue was another band, and they didn't do any research, and they were like, "We're not going to play with a rape band," and I was like, "Well, you guys are dumb fucks. Like,
Yeah.
we're an anti-rape band. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna like if anyone's making in 2024 a rape band, you're a fucking idiot because you're never gonna play, or you're just gonna get jumped. Like, let me
Yeah.
know where that band's playing, and I will go fucking fuck them up. The whole band
Yeah.
will come, will roll, and beat the fuck out of them.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think. If anything, we're not like beat down hardcore. You know what I mean? People aren't like fucking fighting in the pit, and I think if anything, people are scared of that. But if anything, right now that shit's popular, so people are like, "Oh hell yeah, I'll get video footage of them beating each other up, and in the beatdown pit and stuff like that." And
Yeah.
and which like our guitarist and drummer, they dealt with that because they were in beat down hardcore bands where, hey, this guy in a Blood Stand Still shirt beat up somebody today, and like he's going to the hospital, and it's like then they would get crap for it, and it was like, well. And idiots can wear any shirt, you know what I mean? Just because they ended
Yeah.
up liking our band, so what? You know what I mean? Like, and plus he's in a hardcore pit. What do you expect? But no, I don't think anyone's honestly been scared of us. And if they meet us, we're all super nice guys. Like, we will, if the time comes and place comes, we will beat your ass too. But we'd rather not. We'd rather just have a good time. And honestly, a lot of people are like, I think not afraid, but they think our guitarist is an asshole. And that's, if you look at him, yeah, he's probably got a pissed off looking face. He's got resting dickhead face, but he's one of the nicest dudes. That guy will put on shows constantly, and if people aren't having fun, then he's not having fun. He wants people to enjoy themselves and stuff, and if that's not, selfishness, then I don't know what is. And so no, I don't think, like, if you actually meet us and know who we are, we're some of the nicest people in the world. And but we don't like to get fucked over, and that's, I think, what our band's about is I don't want to see you get fucked over either. I don't want to see the next person. None of us should be living the lives we live, and nobody should be living even worse than, like, you and I have phones and laptops we're on right now. That's pretty cool. You know what I mean? There's people down the street that don't have anything.
Yeah.
And that's fucked up. But, and I'm not saying socialism should be a thing or blah, 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 but there should be some kind of outreach. We shouldn't let people live in squalor. It's fucked up.
Yeah, the top 1% and all that sort of stuff is.
Yeah. And if that scares away promoters, then I don't want to work with them either, I guess.
Yeah.
If speaking the truth is going to scare people away, then that just weeds them out before they even get into our field of vision, I guess.
Yeah. So the next question I've got, this is a bit of a long-winded one, so I apologize, but this is the only way I can really think of writing it. So how important do you think it is, Tyler, as a musical artist within your capacity in your band, to get off the end of your bed playing your instrument and actually getting out there and playing with other musicians? And as a follow-up question to that, do you think we're losing that work ethic these days, where people are reluctant to leave their homes and they would rather kind of do all the recording on a laptop rather than having a camaraderie and a brotherhood and, your gang and your tribe?
Right. So, well, the first part was that
get out there and play and be shit.
Okay, so
and just get better.
Getting better. So just getting out there and playing. It's I think it's huge. Going and playing shows and actually getting if you have a message to get across, instead of just pop songs talking about your next breakup and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which is all fine and dandy. If people like that stuff, cool. Listen to what makes you happy. I'm not here to tell anybody to listen, So I might put RKL on or Union 13 and someone might be like, the fuck is that trash? Cool. Well, go listen to your stuff. I don't like either. You know what I mean? Like, we should all be able to have different opinions and still get along.
Yeah.
But if you have a good message and you want people to hear it, there's no way they're going to hear it on your bed. You know what I mean? But then the weird thing about it is nowadays, they can hear it on your bed because you can just put it on TikTok and you can put it on YouTube and all that stuff. But to me, that's, I've thought about doing like solo stuff, and I started off playing like acoustic guitar when I was homeless, and I would play for, Spain and ask for money and stuff like that, and mainly just put out a sign and sit there and play, and hopefully someone would give me a few bucks and I could go get some food. And then if I had food, then some vodka or whatever, piece of shit activity I was doing back then.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, just the going out and playing shows with, like, I have 3 of my best friends in my band.
Yeah.
And that's one of the coolest things. And I don't think if we were in a band, I don't know if we would have become this close. We all kind of live different lifestyles. We're all kind of the same people, but I just don't know if our paths would have ever crossed the way they did.
Yeah.
And now I have 3 of my best friends who I consider my family, and I know they the same with me. And to anyone that's never had that before, or even I've been in other bands where I didn't have what I have now, where it was just like, or even where it was fake, where I thought I had what I had now, and then you find out down the road, like, well, nope, that was all just bullshit.
Yeah.
But going and playing music with some of your best friends and knowing that those are your best friends and you guys get to share your music together and go. We went to England. We're planning on going to Canada. We're going to Hawaii in a few months. That's awesome.
Yeah.
With some of my friends, because of the stupid stuff, we started off in the garage, and even like the other band I'm in, Since We Were Kids, when they first started that band, it was a joke, and you know what I mean? And now they started taking it serious and like, hey, we actually might have something here. And look where they've gone. We're about to do this weekend. We're doing 3 shows with Agent Orange. They're the ones taking us out to Hawaii. It's all crazy. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. So when you get to play these places like Hawaii and you get to play Canada, do you find time to actually go out and explore the area, or do
We
you
always
kind
try,
of?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Like when we were in London and Blackpool, yeah, that was all we did was just roam around and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah. Fantastic.
Besides at Blackpool, we were just at pretty much whatchamacallit. We stayed at the Winter Gardens pretty much the whole time because there was a show going on pretty much the whole time. But London is where we really got to explore and go try different food and stuff like that, and go check out all the stuff that predates anything in America or in the United States. You know,
Yeah, the
literally,
buildings, man. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and pretty much in all of America. You know, like all the buildings out there predate almost everything besides like the Mayan and Aztec stuff. You know?
Yeah. Was there anything that was really different that you found being in the UK compared to being at home? Was there anything that was like, how the
You want to say hi?
Hey, hey.
This is my
Hey.
son Leroy.
Hey, how's it going? You're going to be famous one day.
He wants to be a rock star.
Love
Go
it.
play. Go play with your
See you in
toys.
a bit.
He had to
First one
come say
so
hi.
far. That's all right. It's all good. Photo bomb.
Right.
Yeah.
The
Was there
biggest thing
anything
that
that
I
was?
noticed.
Yeah. Go on.
Oh, the biggest thing that I noticed that was different was definitely the food. We ate a lot of like peri peri.
Yeah.
We had like peri peri spiced chicken and stuff like that. We had a lot of doner, you know, kebabs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We ate at this place called The Catch like all the time. Hey, go play. We're trying to talk. Go play. Well, we ate at this place called The Catch constantly, and then what was it? Nando's. We ate at Nando's a lot.
Yeah, Nando's.
I noticed that like CCTV out there is everywhere. Seems like you're just constantly on recording somewhere.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it almost felt like jail in a way. You know what I mean? Jail out here is just being on TV constantly. But it was also it's a totally different environment, totally different world. It was crazy. Taking trains and subways everywhere and
the tube.
Yeah, absolutely. We went down there and my wife was like, "Look, it's like foggy down here." I was like, that's diesel.
Yeah. Fantastic. So in the US, how many gigs do you reckon you play a year?
Jeez. I would say usually every weekend, but then a lot of the times it becomes even more than that because then we're playing some weekdays and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's all just depending. So I'd say at least 50 to 100, something like that. Probably. And then sometimes it might be even less because it just depends on the timing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
But we're always constantly.
The question off the back of that is a bit cynical, but it gets a bit optimistic in a minute. What's the worst gig you can remember playing?
Oh God, the worst. Okay, so we played when we first started off as No Consent. We went and played at this place, and it was in the middle of nowhere. And we even told he was like our manager at the time. We even told him we were like, "That's kind of a weird spot in the middle of nowhere." And we showed up and we literally played to like the two other bands.
Yep.
And it wasn't like that bad. It was just like we thought this was gonna be better. And then there was a guy selling menudo, and we're like, "Oh, cool! At least there's like some Mexican soup we can eat." And then there was like the hog's foot in there, and like they had like lengua, which is tongue, in there, and all this stuff. And it was like, I think I'm not gonna eat. I'll wait till we leave. So it was just like, and the one guy in our band that did eat it ended up like shitting himself all day. So
oh my God,
yeah,
it's
that show
enough.
was pretty. Yeah, it was in the middle of the desert. It was
awful. Oh my God. So on the upside of that, what's the best gig that you can think of? There's probably more than one, but is there one recently that really sticks in your head?
I think my favorite experience and favorite thing was probably definitely going to Blackpool and playing at Rebellion Fest. Like just being able to walk around backstage and talk to all those legends. Like got to talk to like Conflict, Colin from Conflict, and he was extremely nice. You know, like I was like, "Hey man, is there any way we could take a picture? I'm a huge fan." And he was, "Thank you," and started thanking me and took a picture, gave me a hug, and you know, like we were sitting there talking to like all the dudes from Voodoo Glow Skulls, Eddie and George, and all them. They're all good homies, and talking to all the guys from MDC and Barry Ward, who's from MDC and RKL, and just being able to talk to everybody and walk around, and it was awesome. And I got to mark off, like, I saw this list the other day and it had all these bands on it, like which bands have you seen and which have you not seen from like punk rock. It was something random someone posted on Facebook.
Yeah.
And just looking at that, I was like, damn, I can mark off so many bands I've wanted to see my whole entire life just because I went and played at a show. You know what I mean? Like because my band was able to go and play this show, I was able to see all these bands as a kid I would have loved to see. And I love to see it now. So Rebellion Fest was amazing. If I had to say another one, it would have been, we went and played with, it was Exploited, Cro-Mags, and Total Chaos. And that was at the Belasco Theater in Los Angeles. And that show was absolutely insane. Awesome time. Got to meet Waddy. Hung out next to Danzig like all night, which I guess Waddy and Danzig don't like each other. So that was kind of weird. But Waddy's one of the nicest people. He like came out and filmed us while we did sound check. Which like that's like, I don't know, as a kid, that's like something you would have dreamed of, you know what I mean? So it was all crazy. It's everything we've done with this band has been honestly like a dream come true. As weird and is that to say, is this shit's awesome. So don't sit on your bed. Go out there and play some shows, because you'll never be able to experience stuff like that.
Yeah, even playing venues where, like, I've played venues in the past. I used to play bass for about 8 years. And playing venues where Killswitch Engage have played, they're not there watching you, but just playing, like you say, the accessibility and the relationship between you and other bands. And, hey, we're on a tour this month and we'd love to get you guys to come along. And it just opens these doors, doesn't it? And just a really good networking tool. And it shows that you've obviously all got drive and passion, and you just got to keep going. And hopefully it will all work out, sort of thing. And the only thing you can do is just keep playing and keep sort of delivering it every night and playing like your life depends on it. So absolutely.
We actually have some tours coming up because of, you know, Rebellion Fest, just talking with some of the people I mentioned and stuff like that. Can't really mention the tour yet, but soon everyone will be seeing it. But that's awesome. It's like you go to shows and like still like it was a few months back we went and played a show with Guttermouth, and I went and I had like kind of a sore throat because I had been sick before, and I was like, I asked them, hey, you guys have any tea? And they're like, oh, there's a bunch in the green room. And I was like, I didn't know there was a green room. And they're like, Guttermouth's hanging out back there. And I was like, oh, well, I'll go bug those guys and see if I can get a cup of, you know, tea or whatever. As soon as I open the door, they're like, Tyler, where's the rest of the guys? And it's like, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like, we had Mark and them come and play Big Bear not that long ago, and it was snowing, so we had to go pick them up at my mom's house, which is at the bottom of the hill. And my wife went and picked him up, and he's just sitting there drinking his wine on my mom's couch. And it's like, I would have never guessed Guttermouth was just hanging out at my mom's house. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of, life is kind of crazy. And you know, TikTok and YouTube and shit may pay the bills, but I'll die with all those experiences, you know?
It's not the same as the real life connection that you make.
100%. Even with fans and people that show up to shows.
To be able to physically see the people that listen to you on Spotify and like your Instagrams and comment on your YouTube videos, it's another dimension, isn't it? To
100%.
faces on a screen. Yeah, definitely. So, as No Consent, do you prefer writing music, recording music, or playing live? If there was a preference, or is it just all of it? You love all of it?
That's like the sellout answer, but yeah, I think I love all of it. There's different parts of it. Like recordings, honestly, it's stressful, but it's fun. The best part of recording is when it's done and you're like, oh my God, this song sounds awesome, and you're hyped on new songs. And when you finally are like, we get to start releasing it, and then the realization of, oh shit, vinyl, CDs, You know, like we got to make all this other shit to go along with it. Like,
Yeah.
and that's the crazy thing about being a musician is it would be nice if it was only recording, playing live, and then writing. But then it's also taking care of an Instagram. If you do TikTok, which I started one, but I'm not a fan. I don't even like scrolling on TikTok, and so yeah, our TikTok sucks. Doing Facebook, then now you got to make flyers. Now you're making video promos. Now it's like, oh, are you gonna make the art? Or are you gonna pay somebody for it? There's so much shit on it, and yeah, it's crazy. Like you start off in the fucking garage or in your bedroom or whatever, and just start playing, and you're like, oh, this is fun, and then you're like, oh, now I'm an Instagram like profile maker. Now I am a designer, and it's fucking crazy, but it's all fun. I love playing. Everything you do, and then as soon as everything gets to this plateau where you're like, hey, I got this figured out, you're like, now we have to start doing this, and what are these other bands doing? And it's not a competition, but you look at bigger bands and go, hey, what are they doing that we're not? You know what I mean? And what can we do to do it bigger? Or can we even do that? Or is it something so specialized that they have that? What can we specialize in? And it's all this crazy thing, and then now you're thinking into logistics and all this crazy shit, and it gets insane.
Does your band kind of share the responsibilities of social media, booking gigs, designing clothes, or is it one person that kind of leads the band and everyone else kind of follows it?
Well, I don't think anyone really follows, but I think I take initiative a lot. I do most of the booking because right now I'm in No Consent and Censor Kids, and then the drummer and bassist, or the drummer and guitarist are in. Their original band is Censor Kids, but they're also in No Consent. So right now I'm kind of like handling the booking for both of our bands, but that's so we're not overbooking. One of us is supposed to be here, the other one's supposed to be here. If anything, we're booked at the same place, and which is cool because we're a good 1-2 punch as bands. And then plus you already get us there when one band's there, the other band is already almost there or is there. But I pretty much from the beginning, even when it was the original members, I handled pretty much everything. Wrote all the lyrics, wrote a lot of the riffs, if not almost all of them. And it's like sometimes that's just how it happens, and sometimes bands don't work that way, and a lot of people help out, and I think it was weird because recently with our new guitarist, he writes some of the most badass riffs. Like I was saying earlier, he's within the bands Blood Stand Still, Donnybrook, Murder Death Kill, like so many badass bands, and he's just an awesome riff guy. He writes awesome riffs. So I haven't had to write riffs very much, or if anything, we're actually going like 50-50 on riffs. And that's weird for me because a lot of time it was just me just fucking around with the guitar and finally finding something, and then people would put input in. To where now he's like, hey, check this out. And I'm like, dude, that's fucking sick. Like, we need to use that 100%. But most of the dudes, help as much as they can. Like our bassist, he's starting to do some videos and stuff for us, and everyone's got to find their niche and what they're good at and what, they're best at. And I don't feel like I was really given that luxury. I was like, we started growing and it was like, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to do this. And I'm that person that's not like, hey, can you handle this? I'll do it. I don't like relying on other people and stuff like that. And it's like, I think if I had the group I have now, I could have probably delegated more. But back then, a lot of them, they just wanted to party, and not to talk shit on any of them.
I get it.
I hope they're all doing well and stuff, but most of the people that were in the band before were either looking to grow themselves and not the band, or they were looking to grow their party scene and who they could party with more. And that's all cool. And I love to have an excuse to go and have fun. I don't do drugs anymore. I don't drink anymore, but I can still go to a bar and hang out with a bunch of people I love and have a great time and not have a fucking sip alcohol or, a bunch of cocaine in the bathroom. And that's awesome. I love that. I love being able to wake up and feel only as shitty as I need to from moving gear and stuff. Not also like I'm gonna puke and I left all my shit everywhere. And so I think it's just a lot of people just want to fuck around, and a lot of people, like I said, they even want to just grow their own self-worth instead of I don't give a fuck if no one says like, oh look, there's Tyler Womack. I don't give a fuck. If everyone goes, hey, that's no consent, like no consent's badass. That's what matters to me. If people love my band, I don't give a fuck if they know who I am.
Yeah.
And a lot of people I think want that self-fame. I want my band to be famous, because then those are my three brothers.
You want to be
then we
known
can
as
all be
part
famous.
of something rather than as an individual.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
completely.
Even if they're like, hey, there's that no consent dude, that's rad. That's awesome.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah. So did you say you're in two bands singing? Is that in one night you do two sets?
No, so in one band I play bass, which I actually am not. I'm not even technically a bassist.
Yeah.
I'm like, I originally in No Consent I sang and I played guitar, and then we ended up going to England and we needed another guitarist and a drummer, because our one drummer that we had at the time had surgery and all this shit. So we got a drummer, but that's Art, and Art's brother is Dan, and you don't get one of them without getting the other. So I was like, all right, bring Dan on. I've always kind of wanted to try just singing and not playing guitar. So it was like, cool, let's see how this goes. And now we're stuck with it because, Dan's a badass, so there's no reason not to. But now in No Consent, I just sing. And then and Since We Were Kids, it was Dan, Art, and our buddy Mike. And our buddy Mike is having I think it's like sciatic nerves and stuff, like stuff with his back and with, all that stuff. And so he's having surgeries and stuff on it. And so I'm just feeling like filling in for him at the moment, or who knows until how long.
Yeah, fair enough.
But
the child found your car again.
Now this is my buddy was looking for me at the house. He's like, where the hell did he go?
Yeah. Talking to his phone.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we got one more question, and then we'll head over to the next meeting. So we got about 7 minutes for this one. Do you prefer opening, being main support, or headlining a show?
I think they all have their benefits. If you're headlining and people are actually there to see you and stuff, that's awesome. As a band our size, I'd rather probably be direct support, because then you can get a lot of eyes on you right before a badass band, preferably, and then opening's not a bad thing either, because we opened for the Total Chaos, Cro-Mags, and Exploited show, and there was still probably almost 1,000 people there for us, and the max was like 1,500, and so they all have their benefits. It just depends on the lineup, I guess. If you're on a shitty lineup and opening, then that kind of sucks, you know what I mean? But it's like I think a lot of people is like, you can't really be picky of the shows you take and stuff like that, but you got to pick and choose, because you are also building a brand. You can't. It's like, oh, hey, this place has a bad connotation, like Nazis hang out there. Well, your band probably shouldn't play there. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Or go and play there and smash their fucking faces in. But you got to choose that, So it's fucking, what are you gonna do about it? And I think, it's all just the fucking lineup. If you're on a shitty bill, then opening sucks, because no one's probably gonna show up for any of them because they all suck. But
something that I never fully understood, and I've been promoting gigs as well as playing bass, so I've seen it from both sides. But some bands, I think it's just because there's too many bands on the bill, because everyone wants a piece of the pie. But I've seen gigs open and the band on stage is already playing. And I can't understand that, because the people are queuing up to the venue to watch the band,
Right.
And the band doesn't really want to play to an empty room if they know that there's people outside. They're going to kind of hold back, Right. But that's just something that I noticed quite a lot when I was promoting gigs and when I was in gigs myself, playing shows. And I don't know, I think it's just capacity, and it's just, the amount of times promoters and other bands have come up to my band and said, you've only got 25 minutes. I know we said you'd have 35 minutes, but unfortunately something's happened, or one of the amps has exploded, or, the usual real life has happened. But yeah, it's a weird game, isn't it? Playing gigs and just waiting around, sound checking, getting 4 to 5 hours to yourself, going on your phone.
Right.
Everyone's so fascinated with green rooms, and it's just a load of people on laptops.
And yeah, like opening can suck sometimes because it's like, how are the other bands? Are they cool guys, or are they just gonna play and leave? You know, are they gonna even support you like you had to support them all night? Like we try to be that band, even if we're opening, if we're closing, whatever we're doing, we're gonna be there first in, first out usually. Like I'm not gonna leave unless some other band is an asshole and we already know that, you know, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
We're gonna stick around because that's how it should be. Like I'm not playing a gig just to play for 45 minutes and then go home. Like I signed up for the whole thing. I'm gonna be here for the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like I want them to support me. I'm gonna support you. But I don't know. A lot of it's politicking, and a lot of it's just people.
People. Just people. Yeah.
People are shit.
People love drama. That's the problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll go to another Zoom meeting. It's been lovely speaking to you so far. I hope this hasn't been too random.
Oh no.
But it is called Absolute Bedlam. So yeah, all good. Well, if we see your son in the next one, then crack on. It's all good.
Right on.
I'll see you in the next meeting, all right, dude?
Do you need that extra burst of energy? Do you need motivation? Do you need that X factor? Well, Go Energy has you covered. Whatever gets your juices flowing. Whatever you need to let your hair down. Have a go at it all with Go Energy. Gluten-free, vegan-friendly, and no artificial additives. Go Energy. Use code BEDLAM10 at checkout.
And we're back. We're back in the house, out of the car. See how long that lasts. So,
long the kid leaves alone.
As No Consent, I've listened to your album Bastard Nation. Very, very punchy, very, very to the point, no exposition, just straight in, straight out. Do you think 2-minute songs are the future of music? Do you think stuff needs to be punchier for people that are TikTok addicted, you know, a shorter attention span? Because that's always been something I've found within punk. You know, a song is as long as it needs to be and it doesn't fuck about it. It just goes straight for the throat. But do you think that's coming back? Or is that just what you guys want to write and there's no sort of this will impress this person? It's just exactly as it comes out on the guitar and onto the record.
Yeah, I feel like that's just a big part of how we write. It's like at first when it was just me, I just feel like that was I didn't need any extra bullshit. I wanted songs to hit you in the face and hit you in your feels and make you think and understand the message. And I don't think it needs a bunch of frilly bullshit to do that. And we have some like guitar solos and just like accent stuff, but I don't think songs need to be like, oh my God, that was crazy. Like, yeah, that's cool. It's got its time and its place. And I feel like that's why, especially live, we try to make songs sound like more epic, I guess. Like, just so it's like, holy shit, it is kind of mind blowing. And, but then we, bring it back to the heavy stuff. But that's just kind of the music we like. And, just, I guess, our style. But yeah, I think like shorter songs and stuff, I'm hoping songs don't go down to 15 seconds so they're perfect to fit on TikTok or Instagram. But
no, please no.
Please no. Like we have enough noise bands, we're good. But I really don't. However, people want to write music. If you want to make a 13-minute Freebird song, sure, go for it. Am I going to listen to all 13 minutes? Maybe not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I've always felt like some punk songs, they end and leave you wanting more.
Definitely.
But that makes me want to go and listen to that song again. And I'm a person that I'll listen to the same song on repeat like 10 times just because I want to hear every single part of it. And I always drove a lot of my friends nuts. They're like, "You're gonna play that song again?" I'm like, "Yeah, I have to like pick it apart."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I do.
I don't know.
Awesome.
I I like short songs that kind of leave you wanting more, because
Yeah.
I guess that's
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
was raised on.
Yeah, totally. Do you think Spotify is a net positive platform? Do you think it has its benefits? Obviously, we know the cons, we know the money, we know that you can't really create a band without Spotify now. It's like a necessary evil. Do
Yeah.
you like it? Do you have a license? Like, do you pay monthly for it? What do you think of it as a platform?
So I don't pay to use Spotify. I'm probably the shitty person because I just go on like YouTube to find a lot of my music, so where I can find
Yeah,
it for
fair
free
enough.
and shit. But I always
Yeah,
try to at least, I think YouTube at least pays some shit, if you get enough views and stuff, which
yeah,
I'm probably not
yeah,
helping much, but I'm only one person, I guess. So,
yeah.
and that's uh but our record label puts us on and put us on, we're on Tidal, we're on Spotify, we're on blah 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 blah, ones I've never fucking heard of, we're on, and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And it's cool, fucking, I think through, because we're like put on BMI, and which I mean, I think every musician should go and do that headache of putting yourself on Sound Exchange or BMI or ASCAP or anything like that, because you'll at least get any of the fucking change that you should be owed. And like from BMI, I think we've gotten like $20 throughout the whole years and time and stuff like that. Sound Exchange just recently sent us $2,000. I don't know where the fuck that came from, but thank you, Sound Exchange. I know we had a song on the radio for a while, so I don't know if maybe that's from that, or because
Yeah.
they just have like a live program you can do with like Sound Exchange Live, I think it's called, and then I know there's BMI Live, and you can put all the shows if you play big enough shows, or even if the venue is registered with them, and you can try to
Okay.
get some money that way. So I guess that's like my hey to other artists, go and do
Yeah.
that shit, because no one else is going to do it for you until you're huge, and then they're
Yeah.
going to take a cut. So you might as well help yourself out now before anybody wants that money. And then
Yeah.
you can go, no, fuck you, I already have it set up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah.
can do this and take a cut of that shit.
Yeah.
But
What record label are you on?
right now we're on Grimace Records. So
Okay.
that's Dave Dichter from the band Millions of Dead Cops. Him and his wife or girlfriend, I'm not sure exactly. I think it's his wife, Sophie. They're on it, and they're the like owners and the founders of it. And they're based out of Texas. And we played a show. It was Dead Kennedys and MDC, and we ended up just really clicking with MDC. And I love Dave. I love Barry. I love Mike. I love all of them. Even the new members they have, they're amazing. Anyone in the, if you see somebody and they're rolling with the MDC crew, you could probably be their best friend, because they're going to be a sweetheart and one of the nicest people ever. And then Barry will also tell you about how the government's fucked up, and drink a beer with you and have a great time. You know what I mean? And that they're awesome people. And so we signed with Grimace Records, and we love being with them. They're great people.
That's fantastic. How long have you been with them?
For this album, for Bastard Nation, I think we're gonna talk to them about putting out we have 4 songs we're trying to put out as just a 7-inch. But that's also to kind of like introduce the new members we have, which I've called to tell people we're kind of like a super group, but that's just a joke, you know what I mean? Just because we have multiple bands. People call us Since We Were No Consent, since we were kids and no consent together, and then
Right, okay. Yeah. And is this the record that we're promoting in this podcast that's coming out in summer, or is that something else?
No, so that's going to be the new record. That's going to be the 4-song, the 4-song LP, and we're just working on those songs. We have this song called "See You in Hell." We've been playing for a while. Another song called "Divided They Will Fall," which we've been playing for a while. And then we have 2 songs that we're still kind of working on, and we don't really have names for them yet, but we're planning on getting in the studio, and we're kind of that band that likes to get stuff recorded and then start working on them really hard, which a lot of the songs we're already really comfortable with. But the other 2 I really like. Dan did one pretty much all by himself, and that one turned out awesome. He actually wrote it with not his brother, which is crazy for Dan. He sat down with a different drummer, and they were just fucking around, and he was like, "Whoa, this sounds really cool." But those ones I really want to get the lyrics down, because I feel like I'd be doing Dan a disjustice by not doing really well on him because, man, he's got some sick riffs. And he's like that guy that's like, I want to stick to no consent style. He's like, Tyler, you've gotten us this far. If anything, I just need to compliment what you've already built on. And it's like, yeah, but I still want you to shine through. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Which he does. He does great at doing, though.
You want to build on the foundation.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to come into the band and then our next album sounds nothing like what people liked, because then they're not going to like it.
Yeah,
but he also wants to add his influence, and
So when you play new songs, because this is kind of a foreign concept. I actually listened to Joe Rogan. He had Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins. This is a while back, probably about 5-6 years ago now. And Billy Corgan was very insistent on releasing a whole album and then touring it so that the fans didn't know what was about to come into their lives. But nowadays, like comedians as well do this, they practice their jokes. Bands practice their songs in front of a live audience to see what the reaction is. Do you like doing that before recording?
Yeah, I like to. Well, I like before we go in the recording studio, I want to make sure we have it really well down, and then kind of as you go through, even if you write something and you're like, "Hey, this is awesome," and you go out there and you're like, "Hey, maybe we could do this," or maybe you can do like small little tweaks before you actually get to record. So there's like even ways that singing songs have made me realize like, oh, I could deliver it this way. I could, start off low and build up high with like my scream or something like that, instead of just like if you listen to our demo compared to Bastard Nation, it's a big difference in like how I delivered different stuff, because I kind of learned through us playing. I was like, oh wow. And then I also got better at singing and better at screaming, because when we started off, I was not a very good screamer at all. Or a good singer at all either.
Yeah. Do you have singing lessons, especially when you're on tour, to kind of just make your singing last longer, that endurance and that fitness? Or do you just go hell for leather and see what comes out the other side?
The second. I probably should do something. I've had people ask me if I do like vocal warm-ups and stuff like that, and no, I probably should. I probably should do all that stuff. I just kind of, I'll smoke a joint, smoke a cigarette, and hop on stage, and you're gonna get what you're gonna get. And no, but I always try to give the best performance. I'm not like, I'm just here and you're gonna hear what you hear. It's like, no, I have confidence in, I guess, my vocals and my ability that I can, I don't need all that extra shit. Should I do it? Yeah, I probably 100% should. It probably would be good for me, and I, now having this conversation, shit, I might look into it more. But
this was the conversation that changed it all.
Yeah, it changed the whole outlook.
Yeah.
No, but I guess a lot of the bands I looked up to and listened to, man, is like, I remember sitting outside and watching a dude that I didn't even know, because I would listen to their records or their, cassettes or CDs, or just hear them however the hell I would listen to music back then, even before the LimeWire days.
Yeah.
You'd find and I wouldn't know what the hell the guys would look like. So I'd go see them for the first time, and one of my favorite things is see a guy smoking a cigarette, throw it out, and then next thing you know, he's the dude getting on stage, and he's like, hey, it's like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like he had no vocal warm up. He had a piss warm beer and a smoke, and now he's jumping up on stage. Yeah. But I took, when I was younger, I took some vocal lessons when I wanted to start playing guitar and stuff like that. I took just vocal lessons, and that just pretty much told me like, hold your diaphragm and make sure you stand up straight, all that bullshit. And I think a lot of it has helped. It's made me get more sustain and more drive and shit out of my vocals. But I think I took like 3 lessons my parents gave to me as like a birthday present. They were like, oh, here's a 3, if you want to do more of it, let me know. And I was like, after the 3, I was like, I kind of have, I think I can figure it out on my own now. I have like the basics and the fundamentals. That's all I need. Yeah. If anything, by that time I was old enough that there was YouTube and stuff, and I could, just watch somebody teach me online if I really wanted to.
Yeah, definitely.
But
another deep question
all the vocal
for you.
Training I've like ever had.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Another deep question for you, and then it's a bit silly after that. So this is a real, like, what makes you tick? What keeps No Consent motivated? And what keeps you waking up and still wanting more in terms of more gigs, more fan interactions, more record labels, and all that sort of stuff? What drives you and keeps you wanting to keep going with it?
I think it's like a few things. So when I was a kid, I always was like, I think every kid has this, but I was like, you want to be famous. I want to be famous. And I don't even think it's the fame anymore, but it's just, I've always wanted to go play giant shows. And when I was a young kid, I wanted to either be a clown because I thought clowns were cool. I wanted to be a comedian because I love comedians and I love making people laugh, or I wanted to be like a musician or like an athlete or something like that.
Yeah.
And once I realized I got into like high school, and that's when they started drug testing, and I was like, well, I really like smoking weed, so I'm not going to do any of sports or anything like that. So I stopped doing sports, and even though I still love to play hockey and stuff like that, but and I still skateboard and all that shit, but those aren't the sports that I was playing.
Yeah, yeah,
uh, then and plus I was too mean. I was always getting kicked out. I played basketball, but they would tell me I was like the Dennis Rodman because I was always trying to get in a fight or pissed off at somebody. And I was built more for hockey, where they would let you drop the gloves and we could just handle it real quick, shake hands, and now we're cool. But
yeah,
I think that just that pretty much drove me, as I was like, I've always just wanted to play. Once I figured out, okay, I really want to be a musician. I'm already a clown and sometimes a comedian. So I've always wanted to be a musician, and that's being a musician is playing those huge shows. And I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to stand in front of a crowd of just tons and tons of people that are stoked that you're there and stoked to listen to your music. Secondly, I think it's the supporters we have. Once again, speaking on Rebellion Fest, it was after we had played, we had just went and watched, God, I'm not going to remember what band we saw, but we watched a band that I was super excited to watch, went outside and was hanging out with my buddy that lives out there in England and stuff. And we're out there and we're smoking a cigarette, and then we come back in, and he's a childhood friend. He went to the same high school as me. I've known him my whole life. And now he lives out there. So it was like cool to see him again and have him come. We ended up getting him a wristband so he could come and hang out with us backstage, all that. And we're walking back from the smoking area, and this kid stops me and is like, I'm from Manchester and you're the reason that I'm into punk rock. And it was like,
that's cool.
Are you fucking kidding me? Like, you're from like where is like I look at like, okay, there's New York, LA, and London, if you want to put it down to like cities. Those are like the birth of punk rock. And then San Francisco, if you want to throw San Francisco in there too. Those are the birth. There's Boston, there's all these other ones, where badass punk bands came from. But where it really started, New York and London. You know what I mean? That's like, to me, that's where punk started. And then Cali, we later on adopted it, and if anything, made it different. And some people say better or whatever. I love all styles of music. Conflict's one of my favorite bands, and I love Conflict. That's OG street punk. Fuck you. I love that shit. And but having a kid from pretty much like the motherland of punk rock, you're from fucking Manchester, where there's so many good fucking English punk bands. There's even all these other California punk bands you could have been into. There's all these New York punk bands. There's all this fucking music in the world.
Yeah.
And you're telling me I'm the guy that got you into punk rock? That's life changing to me. Like my buddy, he like started crying because how proud he was. He was like, dude, this is insane. He's like, I never would have thought your punk ass would be here. And like, it's cool to me that there's people that actually like look up to you, like I'm not a perfect person. I'm not a role model by any means, but some things I say, I guess, are the truth. And some things I say really hit people deep. And the music we write, I've had people tell me like, your music's changed my life, or I've had people tell me that my music saved their life. That's fucking insane, because I know that there's musicians out there that have saved my life with their music, and not by choice. They're not, they weren't out there like, I'm going to help someone today. They just wrote down what they felt, and that shit hit. So
quite a heavy compliment, isn't it? Someone saved you. Yeah.
I know what those bands mean to me, and like you're telling me that I mean that to you. That's fucking insane. So. Yeah. If anyone ever wants to tell a band how much they mean to them, please fucking do, because you have no idea how much that will mean to them. And if they blow you off, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
that's one of the biggest compliments in the world.
Yeah, definitely meet your heroes, but sometimes they aren't very nice people.
Yeah.
But
Some are
that's
douchebags.
that's the game, man. Like, you roll the dice, you take
Yeah.
a chance, and
And
hopefully
some of your
they.
heroes will live up to
Yeah,
everything you ever expected
yeah. I've
and
definitely
more.
had more positive experiences, but I've had a couple of negative. But it's all good. So comedians, top 3 comedians.
Oof.
There we go.
Are we talking like stand up or like movie or all together?
Stand up.
Okay, so stand up comedians. Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm gonna have to say Robin Williams is one of my favorite. Oh man, all time stand up comedians. I love like Jim Carrey back in his early days. I love Jim Carrey in movies too. It's one of my favorites of all time. And then if we were gonna say like movie, I would have probably said like Chris Farley or something like that. And I think he was more a better like skit kind of guy, and
Yeah,
he
SNL.
was built for the camera, and SNL,
Yeah.
like they built SNL for Chris Farley. It seems like,
Yeah.
the full blown comedian.
Mm.
Gotta give one more. That's so hard because there's so many. I love so many comedians. It's so difficult. And I know I'm gonna say one, and then we're gonna get done with this conversation. I'm gonna be like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
And there's probably a million that I'm not thinking of either.
Yeah. We can leave it there if you want. It's all good. I quite like improvisational guys, so I really like Eddie Izzard. I absolutely everything.
Okay.
The fact that he goes up on stage without anything written down, it's just
Right.
like he plays off the audience so well. I love Kevin Hart as well. I know he's a bit of a
Kevin Hart.
monolithic figure. He's at the top of the pyramid and stuff, but he's so funny.
Right.
Who else? I quite like a guy from the UK called Lee Evans.
Oh,
but
I know
it's
him.
Quite sort of UK humor. I'm not sure if it translates and travels very well.
No, yeah, I think I love comedy regardless. But.
Yeah. There's a couple on Joe Rogan's podcast that I still need to listen to as well. But there's a guy called Shane Gillis.
Oh, I heard of him too. Yeah,
he makes me laugh quite a lot. I love Theo Von as well. He's got to get a shout out.
Theo Von is that's if I'm gonna say like new generation, that guy's hilarious. There's like, I think that dude's fucking hilarious. Like,
yeah.
I like that dude. The Tim Robinson, I think his name is.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the dude that's got that one show. Fuck, I forget what the show is called. It's got a weird name. But he's the dude that does all the yelling and shit like that. They make memes out of him constantly, and he's funny as fuck.
I love Ricky Gervais as well. I've got to give my UK representation, and the fact that he just doesn't give a fuck.
Is one of my favorite movies ever.
Yeah.
I love that movie where he's the dentist.
Yeah. Good stuff. Favorite venues that you guys play either regularly or just one-off? Let's go for top 3 again, if that's okay with you. Favorite venues in the US?
Favorite venues in the US, so I would say the Belasco Theater was awesome. We just recently played the Observatory in OC. That was awesome. The Constellation Room was really cool. I'd like to play the actual big room, but I don't know if we ever will. And then another really good one is I love Transplants Brewery. That place is awesome. It's out in Palmdale, which is like kind of the middle of bumfuck nowhere, it seems like, to all the people that live in LA. But it is one of the most awesome breweries, and their whole room is just like this giant room, and then it's spray painted all over on the wall, which I love spray paint and graffiti art. My whole entire garage that are like a recording and studio area was all graffitied that I had my buddy hand do. And even our bus, we have a bus that's all graffitied on the side. So I just love graffiti, and that place is all done up. So I'd say the Belasco, the people there were absolutely amazing. They treated us awesome. We didn't even have to load our gear up on the stage. It was like they almost wiped my ass. It felt like they were such nice people. It was like, do you guys sure you don't want me to do anything? I felt like an asshole, honestly, just standing around. now I'm a singer, so I get to stand around and just yell at everyone and tell them what,
Yeah, man.
while I carry up my heavy microphone.
Of course.
So it's I love the Blasco. That place is awesome. The Constellation Room at the observatory, they treated us amazing. The sound was great. It was packed. People showed up like crazy. And then I love Transplants Brewery. That place is awesome. We also played this honorable mention. We played this place called 420 Bank before, and it's a legal weed place where you can buy weed. But then it's also has a concert venue inside, and then it also is a lounge, so you can sit there, buy weed, smoke weed, listen to music, play music. So that had me written all over it. You got to smoke weed and sit there and play music. It was great.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah. Instead of like hiding out in the back room smoking weed or by the dumpsters of the local bar, you get to smoke weed on stage. That was cool.
Yeah.
I felt like Snoop Dogg or Wiz Khalifa or something like that.
Yeah. Nice. There's a random question that I saw on Metal Hammer UK's Instagram, and I thought I'd screenshot it and ask it to some more musical people going forwards. I'm just testing it on this one, so you're the first guinea pig to try this one. So, if aliens came to Earth, what 2 classic albums that got you into music would you play them to try and get them to understand your perspective?
They'd probably just try to fucking nuke them if I showed them my music. They'd be like, these people are fucked up. I'd probably show them Conflict, Ungovernable Force. And maybe they could help me figure out this world and make it a better place, or just kill all the fucked up people. And then probably Keep Laughing by RKL.
Yeah. That'll give them a definite good opportunity to try and understand what's going on, I think. Yeah. Fantastic.
Or we could play them some
Death.
Yeah. Was that spiritual healing?
That might get them off the planet a little bit.
Amoebics or something like that.
Yeah.
I'd play them some nasty shit for sure.
Yeah. As a podcaster, I'm always coming up with questions. Have you got any questions for me that you want to ask? Anything you want at all? I'll be as honest as possible.
Who is, besides myself, of course, who is the most fun interviewer or interviewee you've had on your podcast? And why do you do this? I'll give it a 2-parter.
Okay, so I really, really like MC Lars. I really appreciate him giving me some time. And he opened up a lot of doors for me because he got Brendan from Wheatus on the podcast. Which I really, really appreciate.
I'm just a teenage dirtbag, baby.
Yeah, I'm on first name terms with them now. They follow me back on X.
Oh, so, hell yeah.
That was quite a cool moment to see them follow me back.
That dude's voice is insane. I never knew until I saw him live. Yeah, he's the one that does that high pitch. That's
the girl bit. Yeah.
You got to give him fucking credit. Like fuck you if you don't. I can't do that shit.
Yeah. There's a couple of YouTubers that I've had on that have just been like, I've just found their email address on the internet and thought, fuck it, I'm going to email them. And they've replied to me. Some of them have said, thanks, but no thanks, I'm too busy. But some of them have gone, do you know what? I'm free next Wednesday. Do you fancy recording with me? And I'm like, this is fucking crazy. Like, these guys have got like 2 million subscribers. They don't need to prove themselves to me. You know, there's a guy from the UK called Ashens. He does a lot of like old school video games and video consoles. And he also eats like 45-year-old food that's like stuck in like a tin and just gnarly shit, man. Like, yeah, I'll send you a link to one of his videos because it is very, very funny. What keeps me doing this? So as I mentioned before, I used to be very, very deep into music and very deep into playing my own music and all that stuff. And I think this gives me an opportunity to do a lot of this remotely, but it gives me a chance to go to some more gigs, either as a punter, like a person spectator, or as a press person. So I can actually use this as a vehicle to help. I just love speaking to people, man. I love finding out what makes people tick. And I have been doing this for nearly 4 years now, every single week. So if I didn't enjoy it, then I would have stopped by now. So yeah, it's good fun.
Shit, I'm happy. I'm happy you found something you enjoy, and then
Thank
it
you.
also gives you a reason to party.
Yeah. It's a nice outlet. It makes me feel a lot better when I've had a conversation with someone.
Fuck yeah.
I haven't had any bad sort of interactions yet so far. So
Well,
yeah.
hopefully you don't. If you do, let me know who they are. I'll kick their ass.
I will. Absolutely. No worries, Tyler. Silly question. And then just if you want to give some shout outs, then show opportunity to promote stuff. So in the UK, garbage is known as rubbish. And trash is known as bins. So I always ask my guests from the UK specifically, do they know what day they need to take what bin out? Because if you don't take the bin out when the trash man comes, it's a fucking nightmare. You know, you've got to double up and it's just a fucking chaos. Do you know when your trash man comes, and do you know which bin to put out on which day?
So luckily I'm in a small town, so it's the same day, but it's they come like Wednesday morning for the trash, and then they come Wednesday like afternoon for the recycling and stuff like that.
Yeah. Being out on tour, do you have someone that can do that for you whilst you're not in the same room? Or
usually if my wife isn't on tour, she'll be home with all the kids and stuff like that. So
yeah.
And if not, then hopefully we're not making trash while we're gone, you know?
Yeah. Any companies, music equipment, any other bands that you want to give a mention to? Anyone you want to give a shout out to? We've got about 9 minutes, so just go for it.
Cool. Obviously Censor Your Kids, if anyone hasn't checked them out, they're awesome. Dan and Art, old school hardcore dudes. Now they're, switched over to more punk, but they're still very hardcore influenced. Heavy punch in your face songs. That's why we work so well together. It's a good 1-2 punch. Which is crazy, actually. He's starting to write some more slower songs. He feels that like all of his songs are just like, and then people are worn out by the end. So he's starting to try to write some more melodic shit. But Censor Your Kids is one of the most badass bands. They're what they call themselves skatecore. So skateboarding meets hardcore. And pretty much those dudes are like, he'll tell you, I'm not a punk rocker. I'm a hardcore kid at heart. Those guys have the most like down to earth and what I would say is punk rock and what punk rock morals should be. Those guys have them. So even they'll tell you they're not punk rock. They're the most punk rock motherfuckers I know for sure. Other companies or bands, I would say another band is VCS, Violates Community Standards. Great people, great music. They're part of our band family kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where we just so many bands are fucked up and out for themselves that we felt that, hey, we know these 3 bands are friends and family. We never fuck each other over, so let's work together. So at least we know somebody's got our back. So many bands are just backstabbers, or just they'll be friends to your face, talk shit behind your back.
Yep.
We try to be that band that I'll tell you to go fuck yourself to your face. I'd rather not. I'd rather just get along, and I don't want my band to succeed over yours, and I don't want yours to succeed over mine. If anything, I want us all to succeed. And if you're succeeding over mine, then I'm failing because I just need to do more on my side. Doesn't mean that you're not. I don't need to be mad at what you're doing. Everyone looks at everything as a competition.
Yeah.
It's not. Any companies I would throw out, I want to say thank you to Black Flies Eyewear. We're going to be starting to work with them soon, and so I'm stoked on that. We also have we have Black Flies Eyewear. We have Collision Drumsticks. We work with them very well. Thank you very much for those guys. Stay in Tune Strings. What is that? In Tune Guitar Picks. We use them. There's a bunch of companies we work with. Covert Booking helps book us. Grimace Records. Thank you guys for putting out our music. There's probably a bunch more, that I could throw out there that thank you and stuff like that. But if anything, thank you to all the bands that do stick around at shows and watch other bands and support other bands. Thank you to all the people that come out to shows. I'd rather thank them than thank businesses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thank you for everyone that buys a vinyl or, takes takes the sticker and puts it on their skateboard or on their fucking notebook, or I don't give a shit. Anything you do to help out any band, thank you.
Yeah.
Because I know that guy, hopefully he wants me to succeed too. It's not a competition. We're all out here doing our own thing. If anything, you're in competition with yourself, and that goes for life. Just compete with yourself. Be a better you than you were yesterday or last year or whenever.
Yeah, I love that. So, absolute last question. There's an hour left on planet Earth. We're all going to die. How would you like to spend that last hour? Anything you want to do, completely logistical, nothing matters. Just what do you want to do for that last hurrah?
I think it's something I'm probably going to be doing in the near future here is we're going out to Hawaii, and we're going to be going out there a few days early, and Dan and Art are going to be there's a house that we stay at, and there's like a pool in the backyard, and it used to be just covered with jungle, and they completely cleared it out, got all the water out, and now it's skatable. And we're going to be just hanging out there. I'm not a pool skater. If anything, I'm a street skater, but I might have them try to teach me how to pool skate. Hopefully I don't kill myself or break my arm. But that I would probably just want all my friends and family and just hanging out, maybe in Hawaii, just relaxing, barbecuing, letting Dan and Art skate, maybe some music equipment off to the side, some friends playing music, and just everyone there enjoying themselves. Everyone happy, no drama, no nothing. That's how I'd love to go out.
That's it. Sounds good.
Thanks.
Right.
Barbecue.
I will stop recording, but I just need one last thing from you. I'll explain off recording.
Okay.
And thanks for listening, watching, viewing, and subscribing. On audio, we're about to hit something crazy like 9,000 audio listens. YouTube's a completely different thing, but it's quite nice seeing the numbers go up. It's not everything, but when you see like a 000, it's quite a nice flat number. And I just want to say thank you to everyone that listens to this and makes it part of their weekly routine, because I do see it. And thanks for everyone watching and just keeping it up, and hopefully I can continue doing this for as long as I enjoy it. So, but yeah, shout out to Tyler for No Consent. Check him out. Check out No Consent. And cool. Right, I'm going to press stop recording, and I'll ask for the favor, and we will leave each other. Okay. Cheers, guys. Bye.
Hey guys, it's John here from Absolute Bedlam. We just wanted to take a moment to introduce you to our brand new Patreon. If you head over to Patreon now, you can get access to behind the scenes footage, ad-free content and episodes. You can even send your own requests in terms of the content you would like to see us create. All of this is available to you and more. We've got free options available to you as a patron with us. If you just want to support what we do and help build the Absolute Bedlam experience, a small fee of £1 a month, you can do just that. If you want to get access to that ad-free content, those ad-free episodes, for £5 a month, you can join the Hive. And if you want all of that and more behind the scenes footage, commission works with us, live Q&A sessions, for £10 a month, all of the madness, all of the chaos of Absolute Bedlam will be yours. So head over to Patreon now, become a patron, and join the Hive.
Absolute Bedlam Podcast. Who? What? Where? Why?